It's after midnight, and it's time for conversations about love, family, friends, sex, and life. It's Love and Life with Carol Riddick and Donavan West, only on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
Well, hello there, family. Welcome to another edition of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. We are your dynamic duo. I am Carol Riddick and
I am Donavan West, and we are excited. We are very excited to see you all, to hear you all, to talk in front of you all, and to have this dialogue, especially on this topic for this evening.
I know, right? Listen, I'm already on 10. Now, I'm typically on 10, but right now I have about 5 exclamation marks behind my 10.
This is true. This is true. You've been bubbling. Listen, you've been bubbling, waiting to have this dialogue, and I'm excited with you.
I have. And Donovan says that I'm on 10 naturally because I drink my green tea. Well, guess what? It's a full cup, Donovan, a full cup.
No. Oh, no. Okay.
You are not ready.
Yeah,
You are not ready.
I'm
You
not.
are
I'm
ready.
not. I'm not.
You are.
WURD family, please help me. Just keep me in your prayers and your affirmations, all that good stuff.
You're going to need all of that. You're going to need all of it. No, I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing. In any event, family, our guest tonight, okay, she is a dating coach for smart men. Okay, I like that. Her coaching career began when she was an undergraduate at the University of Arizona. Her guy friends would ask her for advice about dating her sorority sisters. So since then, she's helped over thousands of guys learn to authentically market themselves, stop feeling needy, and start attracting the women they're excited about through her coaching program. See, I like that. I like that. Her coaching program is called Transform Your Dating Life in 30 Days.
30 days.
30 days. I like it. I can't wait to hear all about it. Her teachings are centered around her 5 E's of dating. Okay. And get this, they're rooted in both academic psychology and her years of experience helping clients from the globe land awesome partners. I like that. Does she help women too? I'm going to have to ask her. In any event, without further ado, how about that?
That's right. Let's go. Let's do this.
Yeah. Family, please welcome BLAINE Anderson. Hi, BLAINE.
Hello. Hi, Carol. Hi, Donovan. Thanks for having me. Going well. I'm excited to be here.
We are so excited to have you. I think I'm more excited. I was just explaining that, yeah, I'm bursting with energy. I typically am, but today it's extra special. It's extra special.
Oh, so you guys have great energy. So I'm excited to be here as well.
Thank you. So tell us a little bit more about, this overhaul that you promised inside of 30 days. Where did that come from?
So it came from working with men throughout the years one-on-one. And I realized that although everyone has a unique starting point, a point A, everyone has their own past experiences. All the men I worked with really wanted to get to the same point B. They wanted to feel confident around women. They wanted to feel in control of their love lives. They wanted to feel like they could be their authentic selves and attract women they were excited about. And what every man needed really to get from that point A to point B was the same fundamentals. They needed to learn the same, essentially, base. So with that understanding, I created my masterclass, which covers everything you need to know to get to that point B within 30 days. And it's a 5-week program. So we meet once a week for 5 weeks. And, I'll say you get all of the information you need in 30 days, but making meaningful change takes time. So I won't say, like you're done after 30 days. That's definitely not the case. This is a lifelong journey, as we're all on to be our best selves and to improve and to learn more. But yeah, you get those fundamentals and that strong base in the 5-week period.
Wow, wow. So take us back just a little bit, just for a moment, back to the undergrad years, and there you are, your male friends are, looking at like, yo, who's that? Who's your friend there? And you say, oh, that's such and such, and they start, talking about their level of interest, and you say, well, hold on a second. Just I think I might need to work with you before making an introduction because I don't want you to mess up my credibility. I'm pretty sure something in that neighborhood happened. So how did you find yourself being the point person? I guess so often to then say, hey, you know what, this is something that I need to, invest a little more time and mind share into.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was quite as if I'm being honest, not as intentional as that makes it sound. I just loved talking and chatting about who was interested in who are you crushing on, like who are you bringing to the formal. And so because I was an open book and willing to make connections and introduce people, that just led to my guy friends, taking me up on that, asking more questions. What do I think about this? Who do I think about that? Because I genuinely loved to talk about it, and I've always loved to talk about dating and relationships and get the tea of what's going on with who. So yeah, it started really organically like that. And then after college was when it morphed into something more, I don't know if professional is the right word, but something a little more intentional, perhaps. I was living in New York City after college. I had a full-time job. I worked in the travel industry, but that was about 10 years ago. And that was when online dating started to be something that more people did. It wasn't like weird to meet somebody on the internet. It became the norm.
Right.
And what I realized was that my guy friends would be like, oh, this isn't working, or like, what do you think of this girl? And then I would look at their profile and I was like, oh my gosh, like what is going on here? Like, you're a great guy. You got a great job. I know you, like you have a lot going for you. Your profile is a hot mess. Like, we got to fix this. We need to, like, this is not portraying who you are. So then I started helping with their profiles, and then they'd refer me to their friends or to their colleagues. Mm-hmm. And that's when it became more of like, oh, people actually need help with this, and this is probably something I could charge for. And it became more of a profession.
Wow.
Pretty cool. Now, I hear you refer to, your guy friends. So all your lady friends, they were fine. They were good. Everything is good. There was no issues there. Is that what I'm hearing?
We didn't need help, Donovan.
Yes, but
we didn't need help. We didn't. No, I'm just teasing.
Well, I do. Men and women have inherently different problems dating, for sure. Mm-hmm. And I would say it's just different. And I never claimed to be, an expert of like, okay, like this is how women should date. But as a woman, I know what guys should be doing to attract women. Mm-hmm. And so I think they're just very different. And that's why I get asked all the time, like women will message me on Instagram, which is where most of my clients find me. And they'll say, oh, like, I really love your principles and your advice. Do you ever work with women? And I'm flattered. And I do think a lot of the things I talk about online do apply to women as well. But I think men and women face fundamentally different problems or challenges dating. So,
Agreed.
My masterclass is just for men, and I only work one-on-one with men.
Gotcha. So when you talk about like the difference, right? What do you run across as I would say the top 2 or top 3 challenges that the majority of your clients are experiencing?
So, well, there's a few. I'd say the biggest challenge I see with my clients is that they don't know how to market. They're not marketing themselves.
Okay.
So women are only going to know what you tell them. And that doesn't mean you go around, I make this much or I do this and that. Like, no, there's an appropriate way to market yourself to essentially let women know what you have going for you, what your values are, what you bring to the table, because everybody's looking for somebody who brings something to the table. Mm-hmm. So you need to make sure that she's able to see those things. And so that's the number one. And that's tough. It's, it's not natural for most people, especially in the day and age of online dating and technology and texting and all of these things. It's not so straightforward. So the number one challenge I see is just men not knowing how to market themselves.
Gotcha.
Wow. Donovan, I see you came prepared. I thought I was on 10 and you are, I love it though. I love it.
Well, this is I love talking about relationships.
It.
That's my thing. So,
I know.
I'm just curious about, what are some of the things that, from your journey that you experienced that have influenced that master class, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I hear clearly marketing.
Yeah.
Clearly,
And that-
there are a lot of men that are just a hot mess. Basically, I heard Blaine just now share. Did you hear that, Carol? I
I
heard
their
that.
did. Oh,
profiles. Their
yeah.
profiles
Well,
are
no, I heard.
awesome.
Wait, I heard. I heard a whole lot of men. I heard what you heard, Donovan. I heard.
I,
Well,
there-
Not true.
no. Well, I have a question. I'm curious to know what
Mhm.
you think about dating apps. Now that we're in this age of, well, we're living with meeting people
Yeah.
online. What do you think about the dating app culture?
I think, it's somewhat of a necessary evil if you want to maximize your opportunities of meeting a partner. Most people, men, women, aren't excited about being on dating apps. They're not eager to meet a stranger from the internet, but it is a pool of people who are already pre-vetted as single, hopefully, and that are right in front of you. So I recommend, if you are single and you're serious about dating, you should be on dating apps. That being said, use dating apps like dessert. It's like the bonus, it's the treat. You don't focus everything on dessert. You need your entree and everything else, and then you just you cap it off with your dessert or your dating app. Because a lot of people will think, oh, okay, I'm on a dating app, I have my profile, so it's so much easier to just sit behind my screen and swipe after work than go out and meet people and talk to people, because that's hard, that's intimidating. And so it's a balance. It's, yes, you should have to summarize, yes, you should have a dating app, but don't use it as your sole or primary way of looking for a partner or meeting new people.
Okay.
The other thing I'll say about dating apps that is another mistake guys make and get wrong is, as a man, you have to have an exceptional dating app profile to get matches. That's one of the key things that men and women face different challenges. Women are getting so many matches that they have to figure out how to distinguish good from bad, who might, send them an inappropriate picture versus who might actually be somebody they want to meet. And that's hard. Men, on the other hand, they're just trying to get their foot in the door. They're trying to stand out and they're trying to get matches. So if you have a mediocre or average profile, you aren't going to be getting matches.
So what would you consider a mediocre or average profile? Like what would take the profile over the top?
So what would take it over the top is you need to have clear pictures that clearly show what you look like. So not just, selfies that you can see your face, high quality, clear photos that, you need. So I always say your first one should just be about what you look like. The first photo is always about you. Then you have your supporting photos, and they all work together to tell a cohesive narrative. So they all need to be high quality, clear, see what you look like, but they should also share some of your values, how you spend your time, what you do. So that could be, paddleboarding, if you paddleboard. Any of the activities that you do in your free time should be represented in the photos of your profile. So many guys just find photos of themselves, which I get, guys often aren't out there like, hey, will you take a photo of me to your friends? Or like, oh, this is a great shot, I should get it. So they just find 5 or 6 photos of them. Like that's their criteria. Okay, here's 5 photos of me, I'll just put them up. And that's not good enough. These photos should be curated. You need to put in the effort to usually find them and then decide what ones go in the profile. So that's just pictures, but then also your text and bio needs to be engaging and intriguing, and it needs to speak to a specific person. If what you're writing can apply to 100% or even over 50% of people on a dating app, it's too generic. It should be speaking to the type of person that you want to meet. So it's going to be different for everyone, and just means that it needs to be personal to you.
What do you think?
Well, I was about to ask you the same question. What do you think, Donovan?
I'm right in alliance with that. I mean, I think, the number one thing, and I was just having this conversation with someone literally talking about how you really need to understand who you actually are, right? Who you actually are, not necessarily even what you think you should be, right? Because a lot of times the influence of who you are in a certain space, like in terms of like who you should be, versus who you actually are, that's where there's a conflict when it comes down to who you actually choose. Right. So there you are representing a certain kind of image, and the
Right.
image looks great. And literally, a friend of mine I was just talking to about this last night, about how, it got an amazing car, the job, great, money in the bank, looks good, in the gym about 5 days out of the week. I said, but you don't have peace. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have peace. Like, you don't really know, you're not at peace with who you really are. Right. And so when you're at peace with who you really are, then when you actually engage with someone, you can actually be at peace with who they are. Like, and you're not necessarily projecting, because you're going to project that kind of conflict if you don't necessarily know. And that's why no one will ever actually be good enough for you, and vice versa. Someone, you meet someone and it seems like, although they have all these great attributes, there's still not something clicking. It's because many people are too often thinking about the representative, and not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
like like who you are really uniquely. You may have some quirky things about you, some quirky qualities or something. That's fine. Like, live in that, be comfortable with it, right? And then, as Blaine mentioned, maybe there is a picture of you at a ping pong meetup, because that's what you do. Like, that's your
Right.
thing. And
Right.
then at least when we're hanging out, we're on a date or something, and then someone says, "Hey, what do you like to do?" Well, you don't have to then feel all awkward about it or leave it out. Now imagine being on a down low ping pong meetup circuit. Like, that's now, just because you do the things that you really enjoy, but you're not really presenting all of who you are. And I think at the end of the day, that part that's uniquely you and intriguing to someone else, the more that you are uniquely you, the more than that other quirky person that can complement you may identify you.
I agree. And I think that's another thing I see guys getting wrong is they have these hobbies that they actually really enjoy, but they think women won't be attracted to them, or they think women aren't interested, or think they're dorky. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
actually matter what your hobbies are. You just need to have hobbies. Like, women find passion sexy. If
That's
you
so
are like,
true.
oh, like, I don't really do anything, like, that's lame. But if you're like, even if it's, something, I'm obsessed with roller coasters and I travel all over the country to ride roller coasters. It doesn't matter like what it is, if it's obscure or whatever. If you are excited to talk about it and you're excited to spend your time doing it, that's what she's going to be attracted to, not necessarily the hobby or activity itself.
That is so true. Oh my goodness. So, okay, so let's see. A gentleman, hypothetically speaking, Donovan, you take this course, transform your dating life in 30 days. Then what happens after the course? How far into the process are you involved, Blaine?
So that just depends on the client. So at this time, I don't take one-on-one clients who haven't already completed my course, because I think it's really important to have that base understanding, so we speak the same language. So after the course, if clients want to continue to work together one-on-one, we can do that based on like how much availability I have and how much space I have for new clients. But a lot of the clients, so 90-ish% of my clients have reported a significant improvement in their dating life after just the 30 days.
Wow.
So a lot of them some of them want me going forward. They want to keep talking about it. They want to strategize on the dates they're going on, but they don't need me. So a lot of times I'll just hear from them when they're checking in with an update, with a question here and there. I'm always available to support after the fact if a question comes up or they want to share a story. So it just depends on the person and the relationship that we have.
That's really cool. So how has it affected your own life? I'll say in general, not just your dating life, but how has your occupation affected your life, good and bad, and indifferent?
Yeah. Well, I'd say my friends, men and women, come to me a lot for dating advice now, just to ask me questions or, what do you think of this scenario? Or can you look at my dating app profile, which I'm always happy to do. I'm married. I got married actually 2 months ago.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thanks. And my husband and I will he knows all the material of my course. He's seen it. I developed the course model after we met. So, as I was building it, I was getting his feedback on things and everything. So he knows it quite well, and we'll joke. make jokes about. I'm like, well, this is something I talk about in the course is having like your hobbies. I call them your investment areas. You have to have investment areas because these are places, one, to meet other people, meet like-minded women, and then two, things to talk about on dates. So I'm fostering 2 kittens right now, and my husband was a little reluctant. I said, this is my investment area, and it's important that you support my investment area. Cats and pets are my investment area.
Wow.
Touche. I want to support your investments.
I love it. That's so me. That is so me. That's my investment area. You listen, family, you all know. First of all, let me just say that if you have just tuned in, you're listening to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. We've been talking with Blaine Anderson, and we're talking about some good stuff, y'all. Okay. But because it's that time for us to take a break, we're going to do so. And we are going to come right back and continue talking about more juicy stuff. So stay with us.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night too. Did you have a clue?
No, but teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
A lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
We're often influenced by what we see or hear on social media. Beware of disinformation campaigns targeting Black communities by using cultural issues to incite divisions, spread false information, and negatively influence public opinions. We're in this together, and together we can stay informed and empowered. Learn more at nbcit.org. This public service announcement is from the National Black Cultural Information Trust.
I'll be here to hear what's on your mind. Take this time to talk and get it right. I'll be there all your life. When you need me, I'll be by your side. By your side. And every day is a different day. Everything is in everything. Even when you think things can never ever be the same. Don't be scared of the world, I'll be here to stay. By your side. Even when your heart ain't listening, or your mind takes you a different way, towards a different path. All you gotta do is sit and ask. When you need me, I'll be
When the adults in a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time.
I'll be by your side.
Talk. They hear you.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
Hey there, family. Welcome back. You are tuned in to Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. That's WURDradio.com. We want to take this time to remind you all that you can email us. Okay. We're going to do that because we know after you hear what we're talking about with the none other than Blaine Anderson, you are going to want to send us some questions, comments, and everything else. So you can email us at loveandlife@wordradio.com. You can send us comments, questions, suggestions, whatever you want to send us. Say hi. We love that too.
Just say hello.
I'm saying, but you can do so by emailing loveandlife@wordradio.com. I have been tongue-tied all evening. I don't know why. I guess it's just the excitement bubbling over in me. But I want to say a special thank you to all of our friends on our socials too. Donovan and I love the love that you all give us, and we're trying to keep up. We're trying to keep up. So, give us a pass if we miss a comment or two, if we get to it late. But we love you. We love you so very much. So we've been talking with none other than Blaine Anderson. We've been talking about dating. We have been talking about living the life that you want socially, because Blaine is a dating coach for smart men. Now, I like that.
Oh, I like that too. I do. I think, ultimately, even from a marketing standpoint, those who are not that bright, but would like to be, hopefully they can do enough to be, to go to the master class and get a little sharper, be a little smarter, and I mean, speaking of that though, have you ever had a consultation and said, I cannot coach you?
Oh, wow.
Tell us about that.
There's plenty of people out there who are looking to join for the wrong reasons. They want to just talk about why they aren't successful, but they're doing everything right, or why women are against them, or why it's impossible because of X, Y, and Z. There's, people out there like that for any number of, topics or woes that they're having. And that's not somebody I can help. So if I don't think I can help you, I don't want to work with you. That's a waste of both of our time. So I'm very comfortable saying, not the right fit. Or maybe it just isn't the right fit for any number of reasons. Also, people, if I get the idea you're unwilling to take action, that falls into the similar category. But if you're not going to take action, I can only do so much. I'm going to give you the recipe, but you got to bake the cookies yourself. You got to get out there and take the new photos for your dating app. You have to put yourself out of your comfort zone. And if you tell me, you don't have the ability to do that for whatever reason, then again, it's not going to be a good fit. I'm not going to be able to help you get to that point B that I talked about, the end goal of feeling confident, feeling in control, and attracting women that you want.
So, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I want you to go first.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, kind sir. So what, so the course, what is the first step in your course? What do you do what's the first step? How about that?
Yeah. So the course is hosted kind of like this on Zoom live. It's like a webinar format. So if you sign up, you can attend live or you can watch the recordings. We're all busy, people have different schedules. And lesson 1, you mentioned this earlier, the whole course is based around my 5 E's. And the first E is empathy. So our first lesson, each lesson is about 2 hours, is about empathizing. And a lot of that is empathizing with women and understanding what women want. Because if you don't understand what women want, you can't form a plan of how to give it to them, how to give them what they want. So it's understanding, challenges for women dating, where women are coming from, what women want. And that's step 1. And then the rest and that really plays into everything else in the course and how we talk about and look at all the other things you're going to need to do.
Wow.
Interesting. Now, from a cultural standpoint, do you think that there are adjustments to be made based on culture in terms of how you would facilitate the class, or certain things that one guy of a certain culture may need to do versus another guy? How do you make or distinguish, if you do at all, the difference in culture?
So I work with men from all over the English speaking world. Obviously my course is hosted in English, but and I actually only about 50 to 60% of my clients are in the United States. We also have really North America, Europe, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. And I think within, kind of the Western cultures, a lot of what I teach is going to apply. And every woman is different. So it's not a one size fits all, but these are the building blocks, the foundation. And then you need to take into account everything you're learning about her individually, yourself, what you want, your values. But because again, every person, every situation is different. So I can't, there's not like, oh, I have a sample conversation and you can apply it no matter what. It's like, you can read the sample conversation and it might help you frame the conversation that you're going to have. So all that is to say, I think a lot of the fundamentals are the same. I get comments or people will reach out who are from like someplace in India or someplace in Asia or someplace in Africa. And I wouldn't say that I can't speak to those cultures because I just don't know them as well, or I haven't lived there and I just don't have the experiences there. So there's definitely differences, but I think the foundation is oftentimes the same.
Okay, cool.
So I want to go back to the beginning. You were, what was it, in college when you were working through, what were you studying in college?
So I actually studied Latin American studies and business. And I had no idea what I wanted to do. There was no place on my radar that I thought I was going to be a dating coach full time. And I've only been doing this full time for a few years. Like I mentioned earlier, I previously worked in the travel industry. So after I graduated, I moved to New York City and I worked in the travel industry in a variety of different positions, but always around operations of trips and helping people see the world and meet other people. And then I actually lived abroad, traveling full time for over 2 years. So dated in a lot of different countries. So I guess I would say I have like somewhat of my finger on the pulse with dating in different cultures. And yet, so that was that was my background. I really had no idea that this was going to be something that actually became a profession and a full-time career.
Great. So for that person that successfully got through the first E of empathy, what's the next E for them?
Empathize, embody. So embody is all about looking inward and embodying yourself. So that goes to what we were talking about earlier. Identifying your investment areas, the things that make you happy and make you unique, appreciating them, and then understanding lesson 3 is more about understanding how to market those things. But lesson 2 is really about understanding your value, the things you love about yourself, and what's going to make you a great partner.
Okay.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I like the idea of of looking inward after looking outward, right? So they're
both key.
Yeah.
That's something that I think differentiates me between dating men's dating coaches that I saw out there previously, and where I saw that I could add value was a lot of the things, especially, you know, like 10 years ago, that I was seeing on the internet was very pickup artist culture. And it was totally focused outward, and it was totally focused on, or it was between focusing outward, like the lines you're going to use, what you're going to say to her to make her feel this way. And that then it was about the guy being a certain person too. So it's like, you need to be this person to attract this type of woman. And that is the opposite of what I teach.
I'm sorry. I'm so glad you said that, because I was going to ask you how, what do you feel, you know, separates you from other dating coaches? So that it was really interesting that you said that, because I of course have no clue. So it's really, I'm really interested in hearing what you're sharing with us about how, you know, you put the course together, how it came about, and how you carry it through. So that's really interesting. You say, so what separates you is the fact that I get that. Oh my goodness, I get that.
And that's actually another that ties it back to, like, you asked the type of person that can't be helped, or I say, you know, it's not a good fit, is somebody who doesn't want to look inward and doesn't want to understand, take the time to understand the psychology behind it, and empathizing with women, and, you know, dealing with their own, getting comfortable with themselves. Because if you just want lines and you just want tricks that you can, you know, repeat and recycle to use when you're out or meeting women, like, that's not what I teach. I give the how. I give, you know, sample conversations, sample texts, like icebreakers to use that can be applied to different situations. We do all of that. But first, you have to understand the why you're saying what you're saying, why you're doing what you're doing. Otherwise, if you're just repeating someone's lines, when it doesn't work, you're going to have no idea why. You're not going to be able to adjust your approach, learn from it, and get better results.
That makes a lot of sense. So when someone looks inside, right, when they look into themselves, and perhaps there's some challenges that they're having with what they're looking at, do you ever identify someone who may need to do a little bit more work than the 30 days would allow? And how do you respond to that type of situation?
Yeah, good question. So I am the first to say, and I say this in all my lessons, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist. And I basically think everyone benefits from therapy. So if you feel like, you know, there's something deeper that you want to uncover, find a therapist. I'm so supportive of that. Or if, you know, you feel like you're having anxiety, that is not just like, ooh, I'm kind of nervous to approach, but like, you know, it's hard to breathe, or you're feeling nauseous and you're having those real body reactions, go see you might need to talk to a doctor or a psychologist, because you might have an imbalance. And, you know, I'm not a doctor, but for anxiety or depression or whatever it may be. So I'm a big fan of, I'm just one part of the puzzle. I'm a dating coach, and I can help you understand how to date better, but I can't do some of the bigger picture stuff. So it's really about finding the pieces that you need for yourself and then putting them together. And I try and be really open and honest about what I am and what I am not. And I'm always a fan of, you know, seeking out others. And like sometimes same way people will come to me and they'll say, you know, I'm really depressed or I'm really anxious and I really want to date more. And I say, first, I think you need to focus on you, get to a point where you feel good about where you are mentally. And then let's circle back and talk about your dating life. Because ultimately you have to come first always. If you want to have a healthy, stable, secure relationship, if you want to attract somebody with those qualities, you have to have those qualities yourself. So first focus on you, and then we'll talk about dating.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
I see you processing over there.
I am. I really am. I am. So I was thinking, because I know you said that the course that you teach is virtual, but I was curious to know if you ever host any like in-person, and then my mind is swirling because I'm thinking of events you could do and all kinds of things. But I'm just curious to know if you have, or if you've considered hosting like and I know we're in COVID compromised times, but in person events to help facilitate.
Yeah. I've done actually a couple in-person things with clients. Clients who had taken my masterclass, we were working together one-on-one. They then wanted like styling help, or to just like take it a little further to meet in person. I have done sort of like mini retreats for them, which I actually really like to do, which is really enjoyable. But I'm very selective about, like who I do those with, and just even for like the safety component of meeting in person. And I have considered, some like meetups and retreats and things, but I haven't pulled the trigger on any of it yet.
Nice. Well, it's that time for us to take a short break, family. I just want to say, stay with us, okay? Because we're talking about all kinds of parts of life, all kinds of parts. You hear me? All kinds of parts. I don't know who I am today, so just give me a pass for tonight, okay? Because all kinds of things are coming out of my mouth tonight. In any event, I'm going to make good use of this break. So stay with us because we will be right back.
I'll never forget the day I nearly died. I was a young journalist with a great career, starting a family. The only way we found out I had any kind of heart issue was when I went into sudden death. My coworkers sprung into action. They've recently been trained in life-saving CPR protocols developed by the American Heart Association. They're the ones that kept me alive until the medics came. They did many tests on me in the hospital after my cardiac arrest and created a treatment plan, all with research from the American Heart Association. I think unless you are a heart disease patient, you may not know how much work the American Heart Association does behind the scenes to save your life. Since my cardiac arrest, I've had 2 more children. I've watched all 3 of my children grow into adulthood. I'm going to cry now. Graduate from college. My daughter got married. I have grandchildren. And I'm still here.
Learn more about the American Heart Association's work at helpheart.org.
Imagine you on a deserted island all by yourself, or even being in a crowd of people yet still feeling alone. That's what being a victim of sexual assault can feel like. Victims of sexual assault are at an increased risk for developing depression, PTSD, substance abuse, eating disorders, and anxiety. Sexual assault can happen to anyone and is any unwanted sexual contact such as unwanted touching, fondling, groping, or even rape. No always means no, so speak up and speak out. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Everyone loves a champion, someone whose performance puts them head and shoulders above the rest. But not all champions wear a medal or hoist a trophy. At the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, we see champions everywhere we look. In every sport, on every court, we're building a foundation to ensure all athletes are safe, supported, and strengthened. We believe abuse can be prevented by taking a hard look at how we coach, how we train, and how we interact after the last whistle. We have provided over 2 million safe sport trainings. At the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, ending abuse is not just our job. It's our promise.
The thing that drives me every day as a dad is him. Every day he's hungry for something. And there's this huge responsibility in making sure that he's a good person. I think the advice I would give is you don't need to know all the answers. It's okay to make mistakes. As long as it's coming from love, then it kind of starts to work itself out.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka The Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food marinated in the Black experience, seared with history and braised in culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food History and Culture, every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, Independent Black Media.
Welcome back to Love and Life here on WURD. Progressive Black Talk Media, on air and online at wordradio.com. We are at the final stretch of what has been a very interesting conversation about, dating and how to get yourself together, fellas. Okay? how to get it together, how to work on you, how to, be more marketable, how to be more empathetic, if I heard, also how to, take inventory of what you have to offer, right? So that you can move with a certain kind of confidence in this dating space. And, Blaine Anderson has been giving us some nuggets, something to think about. What do you think, Carol?
Oh, indeed. I could not have said it better. I'm trying to keep my conversation to a minimum because it sounds today like, my words are all over the place. But I am in full agreement with everything you just said. What I would like to do, though, Blaine, since we're at the final stretch, is ask you to share with us how our family members can reach out to you or find out more about you, and especially if they want to employ your services. How can we find you?
You can find me across all social, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at Dating by Blaine or www.datingbyblaine.com. And yeah, shoot me an email, shoot me a DM. I would love to hear from you.
Could you spell that, please, for our family members who are only listening?
www.datingbyblaine.com.
Woohoo, woohoo. Thank you. And also for our family members who might want to reach out to you on social media, how would they do so?
Yep, at Dating by Blaine, again, DATINGBYBLAINE.
And you're on all platforms?
I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube. So throw me a follow, shoot me a DM. I'm there.
I'm going to follow. This is really cool.
Sounds good. Sounds interesting. And, also I think anything that provides guys, some additional, I guess insight, right? I think that's the best term, is getting some good insight from someone who has not just dated here, but as you mentioned, you've dated around the world in different places and spaces. Speaking of that, tell us if you can, or share with us if you can, a unique dating experience.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, let's think. A unique dating experience. What, do you have like a category of unique you're looking for?
Just one that won't make you blush too much. Good one.
Okay, let's see.
I was curious about that too. If anything that you might think we would think is unconventional, unorthodox, or.
I will say, so like I said, I was a Latin American studies major. I studied abroad in Argentina, so I lived there for 6 months. And then when I was traveling full time and living different places, I spent 5 more months around South America. And the men in South America, they are direct. They are loud. They are not afraid to share their feelings, which actually, has a lot of benefits, I think. You have to balance being vulnerable and putting yourself out there with like coming on too strong. And that can be perceived, sometimes in the wrong ways. But there's definitely something to be said for wearing your heart on your sleeve and letting women know you're interested.
I love it. Blaine said, I'm going to play this really, really.
You saw that, right?
Yeah.
That was nice and
it was politically correct.
PC,
Blaine said, I'm not going to tell anybody's business. What I'm going to do is tell you about the experiences I had personally. So what happened in my travels? I like it though, Blaine. I like it. She said, because I want more clients.
Answer. That was
I want more clients. That's right. I want more clients. She said, you are not about to shut me down, but I do love it, and I definitely love your approach. As I was stating earlier, when you were talking about what differentiates you from others. I shouldn't talk too much today, Donovan. I should leave it to you because my words, all of my words seem to want to come out at the same time.
No, you just got to go with 8 ounces, not 16 next time. That's all.
You might be right. I put a full scoop of matcha. I probably should have.
That's what it is.
I know, but I'm a matcha tea girl. I am. That's what it is, Blaine. My matcha tea.
I support it. I love matcha. Okay, I thought of one story I can share that's like someone could actually use. Someone could repurpose for their own. Okay. So I was in Australia. I was in Melbourne, and I'm out at the a club bar type situation, having a good time. I meet this guy. We hit it off. We're like dancing. We're having fun. The bar is closing. Things are winding down, and he's like it's closing here, but I know this amazing spot with a terrace, with a view of the city, and an incredible wine selection. And I was like, that sounds so perfect. Okay, where is it? He's like, my place.
No. Wait.
But it made me smile. It made me laugh. And I said, not tonight, but maybe another night. And so then we ended up going on a date, and we went to a wine place. It was a good date layup. He tried. He shot his shot, and I said,
he did. Where did you meet?
And it made me laugh.
Where'd you meet your husband? Your husband?
I met my husband at a workout class.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I talk about that a lot because guys are always like, oh, the gym. Can you meet women at the gym? And the answer is absolutely yes. But there's a lot of there's nuance around it. You got to be careful.
Be careful. Don't be a creep.
Yeah.
Boom. There it is. That's
no matter where you are, gym or other place.
Yeah, I was about to say that. That's a blanket.
Yeah, but looming around, when the Pilates class, stop. Just go do your work.
You can't be there with the sole purpose to pick up or meet women. Yeah. If it is already something you're doing and you love, great. I say this all the time in my course. Women have a sixth sense. Women have a sixth sense. If you're not being honest, if you're there for the wrong reasons, if you have ulterior motives, so she's going to know. Don't go be lingering around the Pilates class for the purpose of meeting women.
She sure will know. And yes, we do. I think we have 8 senses, if not more.
Really?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I think so too.
See that? In any event, it's that time, y'all. It's that time. Family, this is where we begin to wrap up tonight's episode. And this is when we say to you, we thank you for continuously supporting us, for showing us love, for demonstrating that you care, for just, tuning in to Love and Life right here on WURD. We thank you so much, Blaine, for accommodating us, for taking the time,
Thank you.
Yes. So special thanks to our entire WURD family and all of that good stuff. Family, have a great night. Have a great morning. Have a great rest of your day. Remember, we're all in this together. So be good to you, but be good to those around you, please. And make sure you join us at midnight, Sunday through Thursday, for another edition of Love and Life on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. Have a good one, you guys. Right?
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I'm Tanya Hopkins, aka The Food Griot, the host of Savory and Sweet, a new show about food, history, and culture. Savory and Sweet is a flavorful exploration of food, marinated in the Black experience, seared with history and braised in culture. Each week, I'll fold in conversations that center food and drink at the intersection of business, health and well-being, entertainment, education, and innovation, while separating the facts from fiction on the sometimes surprising origins of what we eat and drink. So join me, the Food Griot, and special guests for Savory and Sweet, Food, History, and Culture every Sunday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. exclusively on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media.
You know, a lot of people say when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Oh, hey, Julia. You ready to play band with us? I'm going to play my clarinet.
And Elmo's gonna play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still has to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
I remember this one moment. I ran to kind of the water edge, and my mom said something along the lines of like, now it's your turn. Take that first step. When I became a mom myself, I feel like my whole world changed. There's some light within her that makes me continue to do the climate science work that I do. You don't have to be a climate scientist to want to protect the earth. As moms, we care about our children and the environment they grow up in. And for Mia, I want you to know that I worked really hard to be a part of the change and to make it a better place for you.
Oh, hey, Julia. You ready to play band with us? I'm going to play my clarinet.
And Elmo's gonna play his drum. Drum loud.
Oh, well, you know what to do, Julia.
Julia knows.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still has to make music. Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Lifting every voice till earth and heaven ring. This is WURD Radio. 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.